This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Not all probiotics are created equal. New Ollie Precise probiotics are expertly made with clinically studied strains for targeted benefits beyond digestion, like skin health, metabolism, or even stress response. Find your Precise probiotic at a Walmart near you. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our Mom Sense and Dad Sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit that'stotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. You know how I'm always advocating for trusting your mom sense. Well, here's something my mom sense wishes I'd known when my kids were babies. There's actually an eating window, roughly 6 to 18 months, when babies are most open to new flavors and textures. Use it and you raise a worldly, adventurous eater. Miss it and you're negotiating with a 4-year-old over plain pasta for the next decade. That's exactly what Global is built around. It's a baby and toddler food company that makes whole meals in glass jars. Think pad thai and tikka masala, which is a household fave. These babies are introduced to diverse flavors and top allergens right from the start. And here's something I didn't know until recently. The way babies eat matters just as much as what they eat. When babies squeeze their food out of a pouch, they're actually bypassing the chewing, tasting, and oral motor development that teaches them how to eat. Spoon feeding from a jar, seeing the food, smelling it, experiencing the texture, that's how the whole learning and sensory process works. And the glass jars means 0 microplastics leaching into your baby's food, which as a mom, I care so much about. I'm so glad I got to interview the founder, Erica Beth Levin, on how she conceptualized Global from a problem she faced with her 2 little eaters. And now it's here. Visit global.com, GLOBOWL, and use code MOMSENSE, MOMSENSE, for 20% off. That's global.com and my code MOMSENSE for 20% off. Bon appetit! Hi, everyone. Welcome back to That's Total Mom Sense. I'm your host, Kanika. And today we have a very special, purposeful episode in store for you. I want you all to take a moment to close your eyes and just think of your loved ones. I'm thinking of my parents, my spouse, my 3 kids. So think of who those people are for you and how boundless the love is. Okay. Can open. Now I want you to just process what it would be like to have to lose your dad and your mom and your little girl in the span of 4 years. And that is something that my guest here today, Kate Doerge, has been through, and she is here to tell the tale and inspire you through getting through those tough times and reimagining grief. This is her book right here. So excited for this launch and this awakening that you're going to provide all of our viewers and everyone out there with. Kate is not only the author, she's a certified grief coach, and we're going to learn all about her life and story today. Kate, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored and just so grateful to be here. And I can't believe this book
is here. It's here. I want to kick it off with a song. We're doing this podcast opening so differently today, but we're just heart-led, you know?
Yeah.
So we are going to listen to a few...
I love it.
Like the first few lines of this song.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Yes.
Oh. Sunshine, wow, and it doesn't feel good. Yes.
Oh, that's the best way to start.
How we have to start
it.
with Penny's Blessings.
Yes. And
oh my goodness.
That's Penny's favorite song and her life mantra.
Yes.
Walking on sunshine. And she did for every single day of her 16 years of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take us back to young Kate, because I want to know who you were and, raised by a firecracker of a mom who's a belly dancer and her own Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
And your dad was a Marine.
He was.
So, who did that, have you kind of feel nurtured to become?
Yeah, thank you. Well, they were the greatest role models of my life, and they set the foundation for who I am and for how I've navigated through life and through all of the challenges, adversity, and certainly loss that I've had. Yeah. I grew up in Bedford, New York. I was the youngest, had 2 older brothers, a father who was a Marine, but had also studied to be a priest. He was a devout Catholic. So sort of the balance of this physical strength and faith that he had. And then my mother was the brightest light. She was a movement therapist. She taught jazzercise. She was a belly dancer. She was in Life magazine for being a socialite belly dancer in New York City in the 1970s. Oh. And so she instilled sort of this beauty of movement and positivity in me. So again, the balance of this physical strength and sort of mental strength of my mom and my dad really allowed me to have this foundation for what I'm doing. And I feel so fortunate for their guidance and for their incredible role modeling for me.
Yes. And you have always been a super connector. You had a diary that you would take to the playground with you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Of okay, did I hang out with everybody here?
Yeah.
And connect them all and make them friends.
Yes. Well, I'm a people person. And so for me, I know I'm an extrovert. And I think that was my mother's side, where I thrive on connection and relationships. And I always tell my kids, you never burn a bridge, because you never know where you're going to end up or where you're going to need help.
Totally.
So that has just been my mantra through my life. And the playground agenda of who's going to play with who and bringing people together, that was a real thing.
Oh my goodness. I love that. And is that why you went into PR?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think just innately I knew I wanted to connect with people, and I wanted to make an impact. And it's so interesting when I think back on who I was as a little girl. I always knew in my heart of hearts I wanted to make a difference.
Yes.
And I didn't know what that would be. So actually, when I launched my career in fashion, and I was beauty brands, fashion, accessories, lifestyle, and I led a PR agency for 21 years, I was always looking for what client am I going to change the world with?
Ooh.
Where am I going to make the difference that's really going to make an impact and help others?
Yes.
And I loved what I was doing, but with each client, I was like, how can I go bigger? What can I do? How can I help others? And certainly it wasn't until Penny and everything that happened with her that I realized, okay, I can make a difference, and I'm now living my life's purpose.
Yes. But, you can't connect the dots going forward.
Yeah.
You can connect them going back. And
Yes.
I think back
So
to
true.
the young Kate on the playground.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had a very similar dynamic. You were the one daughter with two brothers. That's what Penny
Yes.
was too.
Yeah.
So there's just so much alignment that when you look back, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense now.
Oh, yeah. Because also I think the physical strength, I laugh thinking about my father, who was this Marine. So he was like, how many push-ups can you do? How many sit-ups?
Yes.
And he would challenge us as kids. And so the wind sprints against my brothers, I'd be like, I'm going to beat them.
Wow.
But that physical strength has led to mental strength.
Right.
And I think, as you said, Penny grew up with two brothers. She is Henry, her older brother, and Frankie, her younger. And same thing. It was like she was just keeping up with the boys.
Totally.
And that physical strength led to the mental strength to allow her to face all of the challenges she faced in life.
Yes.
And that started, as 4 months old after she rolled off our bed and fractured her tibia bone.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Actually, I want to get to this, but I want to start with your wedding to Chad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because that was just very ominous. Your dad pulled you aside on your wedding day and told you some
amazingly
advice.
enough, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary last week.
Happy silver.
Thank you.
Wow, that's huge.
It has been huge because little did we know 25 years ago on the rehearsal dinner of our wedding, my father, who again was filled with so much faith, and he was such a role model to me and to Chad, he pulled us aside and he said, at our rehearsal dinner, you've lived a charmed life. You have wonderful friends. You have a beautiful family, but you will be challenged. And it's up to you how you want to play the cards you're dealt in life. And I laugh because I tell this story because both Chad and I sort of looked at him and looked at each other and we're like, you're really killing our vibe here.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to dance.
Yeah, we just want to dance and be with our friends. But little did we know that was the greatest advice that he could have ever given us.
Yeah.
Because with that advice, the challenge after challenge we faced, I have always held in my head, okay, these are the cards we've been dealt. How are we going to play them?
Play that hand, yeah.
And so that was the greatest advice that led to the first of those challenges, which was when Penny rolled off our bed and she fractured her tibia bone. We raced up to hospital for special surgery. And it was there that we were told not only is it a fracture, but it's something much more rare called congenital pseudarthrosis.
Okay.
Which is essentially, it affects 1 out of 300,000 kids. So you can imagine 4-month-old Penny in my arms being told this. And they said, because it's so rare, we typically only see it under the umbrella of something called neurofibromatosis.
Okay.
Or NF.
NF,
which affects 1 out of 2,000 individuals. 150,000 people have it in the United States. But in that moment, they said, you know what? With this bowed tibia bone that she had, which is essentially the bowing of your elbow, as if your tibia has a joint in it.
Yes.
And it was bowing. They said, don't focus on the NF because with her leg, this is going to be a long journey to fuse the bone.
Okay.
And if we don't take it seriously, she's going to lose her leg. And so, again, imagine 4-month-old Penny in my arms.
She's like not even crawling.
She's not even crawling. She's this tiny
to
little
fathom
being.
that.
I know. But so imagine that because instead of falling into this deep, dark place, we had a choice. Okay, well, we're going to bedazzle her cast and we're going to make sure she accessorizes the brace she wore on her leg every day of her life to match all of her outfits.
Right.
And with every surgery she had on her leg, which was 7 to fuse the bone, we made sure we celebrated her. We'd have surgery and then we would go out and she was never defined by any of those moments because we didn't allow it.
Right.
So that,
and neither did she.
No,
she was smiling through surgery.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
She never complained. And Chad and I and all of our friends could hardly believe that she was leading with such positivity, with such joy and light and walking on sunshine.
Yes.
That we just followed her lead through all of it.
Wow.
So that was the first of these series of moments of how are you going to play the cards you're dealt? And aside from just Penny, certainly as we moved through every surgery, we kept that in mind. And then when my father was passing in the last week of his life, my father had always said to us, when my time comes, it comes. And it was sort of one of those moments we felt it was so morbid. Right. I was like, Dad, seriously?
Yeah.
And I think he meant when his time comes, it comes because he's lived his life.
Yes.
And he's lived it with purpose and meaning, and he was ready.
Right.
And no regrets.
Yeah.
And so that was an incredible foundation for us, and mantra also.
Yeah.
That when my time comes, it comes. And so when his time came, it came. And we knew we had to celebrate him and honor him, because that's what he would have wanted. And he would not have wanted us crying, because he was accepting of when time comes, it comes.
Yes, exactly.
So we did it differently for my dad's, celebration. I don't even call it a funeral, because he hated funerals.
Right.
He
wasn't a depressing person.
He wasn't. And he wanted to kind of celebrate life. And so we did for him. And that was the dress rehearsal for my mom.
Yes.
And in that moment, and I don't know if you want me to go into
Yes, go
it,
into that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tragic and unexpected. And I had talked to my mom on December 18th in the morning on the way into the city, into my office. And we were talking about all the Christmas plans we had. And she was in Florida and we were in Long Island. And what we were planning to do and the presents she was going to buy the kids. And we talked that morning. And then that night when I was on the way home on the train, I got the phone call from my godmother who said my mom had been in a car accident and she had been airlifted to the hospital. And when I called the hospital, I was at that point driving home and I was pulling into my driveway and they put me on hold. And when they got back, they said, I'm so sorry, but she didn't make it. And so you can imagine. Again,
just the shock.
Imagine the shock.
Yeah.
My mother was 73 years old. She had never been sick a day in her life.
My goodness.
Bright as light.
Physically fit.
Yes.
And you spoke to her that morning.
I spoke to her that morning, and she was
you would
off
think
to
about.
play tennis, and she was wrapping presents. And so, but we had a choice. I was sitting in the car, and I got that news, and I could have stayed in that car and never gotten out of it.
Yeah.
But I knew I had my kids in my house who were playing Christmas music and all my mom's decorations were all over the house.
Yeah.
And what would she have wanted? She wanted me to go inside and embrace my kids and pull myself together to celebrate her life.
Right.
And honor her.
Yeah.
So that was, again, my dad's voice, which was like, how are you going to play these cards?
Yes.
So we did. And it was crazy looking back on it because no one could believe how we decide to move forward.
Yeah.
But because my mother had been all about movement and connection and celebrating, we made a choice. And I called my brothers and we got together and we went down to Florida, and all of my parents' friends were waiting for what we were going to do. And we did it differently.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Tell us about this. Yeah. This is a hoot. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, it was the traditional way of mourning and grieving, as we all know, because this is why I wrote the book, but is, people will tell you you're going to be sad, you're going to be angry, you're going to be in denial, you're going to be in depressed. And then finally, you're going to accept this.
Right.
And with my mom, yes, I felt all that. I was crushed to the core, devastated at the loss. However, I knew she wouldn't want us feeling angry, depressed, sad. So my brothers and I, when we first got together after we had arrived in Florida, heard the news, flew down, we went to the church, our Catholic church, where my father's very close with the priest, and we were as a family. And as we were sitting there planning my mother's funeral, even though we now call it a life celebration, I looked at my brothers and I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to pick these traditional hymns or the prayers. And I know this is of tradition, but Mom is so much brighter than this.
Yes.
I don't want to be in a dark church.
Right. And go through the motions.
And go through the motions of what's customary for what we're
supposed
to do. She didn't do that. She was a belly dancer.
Yeah.
She wore costumes.
Yes.
And she wore a leotard and leggings.
Right.
And
oh my gosh, how fun.
We needed to celebrate her in the way in which she lived her life.
Yeah.
And so we made a choice. We had a very private, small family gathering to honor my family and their wishes in the morning. And then we did a celebration of my mom's life at the beach. And we brought all of her friends together. And hundreds of people came out.
Oh, wow.
And we had silent fireworks. And we served all the food she loved and played the music she loved. And we had my niece do a traditional Indian dance.
Oh, my goodness. That's so sweet. I love that. That's what I learned for like 15 years and my daughter's doing now.
It's amazing. And how joyful that is.
Yes. It's joyful, vibrant, colorful, all the things. And then everyone came in costumes, which I love.
So that was amazing. Because not only did we celebrate my mom once, twice, but 3 times. So it was in the different communities. My mom spent the summer in a wonderful island where she grew up, and I have raised my kids as well, called Fisher's Island. Okay. And for that celebration in the summer, my mom was so active, right? So she played tennis, she played golf, she danced, and she was a belly dancer.
Right.
So for that, we did a parade from town up to her house, and it was come dressed as your favorite Cassie.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So I wore her belly dancing costume,
I love
which my boys were horrified at, but I tried to cover myself
has abs.
I was like, I'm going to do this for my mom.
Yes.
But everyone was dressed as their favorite Cassie. And then when we did this parade, we were led by a beautiful band, and we all had kazoos. We're playing kazoos, parading up this hill up to our house. And it was so beautiful because when we got up there, it was the most beautiful sunny afternoon, and you could feel my mother with us. Like she was just so honored and I think grateful to be celebrated in a way in which she would have loved.
Absolutely.
And she was there. Like she loved the party.
She was definitely there in spirit. My goodness.
Yeah.
She had her hand all over that.
She did. And then people were able to tell the stories about her.
Yes.
And I think so much about what we talk about is going through loss and grieving is, it's so hard because when you've lost a loved one, you will have someone come up to you and say, I'm so sorry. Yes. And of course they're so sorry. But what if instead you say, you know what? I remember the time your mom taught me tap class, dance class. Or I remember the time your dad would tell these incredible jokes. Like, that's what you want to hear.
Right.
You want to hear that because that keeps you connected with your loved ones and keeps them alive.
Yes.
So for my mom's celebrations, it was so beautiful that people would get up and tell the stories. And they continue to tell the stories.
Yeah.
I have people all the time sending me DMs or texting me being like, I was thinking about your mom and remember when she used to do this. And I love that.
Yes. That's how to remember and honor them.
And keep them alive.
For sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, being on the receiving end when you are grieving someone who's passed, that's, what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I did an interview with a woman named Jessica Fine, and she lost her sister and another close relative and her daughter when she was 17.
Wow.
I'll connect you too.
We'll need to
And she wrote a book similar to this where she said, I actually enjoyed when people sent me pictures of like their loved ones or, I'm actually going through my own grieving process with my mom. She has Alzheimer's and aphasia. So it's the same degenerative disease that Bruce Willis has. That's why it's kind of gotten, the acknowledgement in the public eye. So she is nonverbal. And my friend Ritu, I'm going to give her a shout out, Ritu, she sent me an email my mom sent her because my mom was a psychology professor and, had her PhD and taught for decades. And Ritu was a teacher. And she said, when I was aspiring to go into education, your mom was like a mentor to me. And she saved some of the emails and she sent me one. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was from like 2000 something. And I was just so happy to read the words she wrote.
Yes, I love that so much because when, I think when you go to someone's life celebration, right, after they've passed, I think, in the traditional model of funerals, my favorite part was always the eulogy. It was always like hearing the stories when the speakers would get up and share those amazing stories because that brought them to life.
Right.
And that created a connection. So when you're going through grief, as we all know, whether your loved one is still alive and you're grieving sort of the life that they've lived
Right.
and where they are now, or if they've passed, that same feeling of you want to keep them alive. You want to feel the connection because you feel so alone.
Yeah.
Grieving is very isolating.
Yes.
And I think when people talk about I'm grieving, it immediately creates a bubble around them where I think for those who have friends who are trying to take care of someone who's grieving, it almost feels like instead, you've shut yourself off by saying I'm grieving because then it just makes it seem like you're so alone. But instead, if you say, well, I'm honoring my loved one, then those outside will be like, you know what? I want to honor with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to join you in this. Like, let's share this story.
Yes.
Let's connect about your loved one.
It's so much more uplifting.
It's so much more uplifting.
Do you feel like superstitious about how, you've heard, I'm sure, that when they pass in threes?
I have heard of this.
Yeah,
but tell me about this.
So someone had told me this where they were like, oftentimes souls are connected and it happens in threes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think of how it was your dad and your mom, and they're holding Penny up there.
I know.
But it was the three of them.
Yeah.
And within a span of 4 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah.
And I'm thinking of another, maybe my numerologist can validate, but 4 months was when you got the news about Penny. Maybe 4 is significant. I don't know. Do you feel like?
Yeah, I'm all into the numbers and I'm into the signs, as we know.
Yes.
But absolutely, I think, again, I look at the losses that I've had as, it's hard to say, as a gift, because no one wants to say grieving and gift in the same sentence. However, I recognize I am living my life's purpose.
Yeah.
And I know the connection between my father, my mother, and Penny is my life's purpose. And I really, really see that. And I know that. And they are my partners in this journey. So 100%. That is important to say, that it is not a gift that they're gone. That is not it. It is a gift of the lessons they have taught me and the life that they lived and what they have left behind.
Right.
That is the gift that I have received from them. And they are my partners in this journey. And I feel them every day in everything I'm doing.
I want you to share the signs, because when you and I met, it was like magnetic.
I know.
And this is the first thing we connected.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Alexis Contos and the Breadwinners dinner that she hosted in New York City. It was no coincidence that Kate was seated right across me.
Yeah.
And she's just who I needed to meet that day.
Isn't
and now we have each
amazing?
other forever.
I know.
After this.
I have chills. I have chills because I always say, Penny puts people on my path for a reason.
Yes.
And there are so many stories and so many synchronicities that I've experienced since she passed 3.5 years ago, that it is, I almost don't find it surprising anymore, because I'm like, well, of course we were supposed to be across from each other.
Yes,
it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
And you showed me on your phone a few different signs.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my God, you have to share about the Jeep with the license plate. So
and the angel.
Get into it, because
Well, for me, the story about Penny's passing, for those, again, sort of backing it up, Penny had neurofibromatosis, which is under the umbrella of NF. You can have a multitude of symptoms or very few. And as I mentioned, Penny had this bone abnormality, the bowed tibia bone.
Right.
So that's really all we focused on for the majority of her life. However, NF is the growth of tumors anywhere along the nerve pathways. So we're always watching for markers of tumors benign anywhere along her body. Multiple MRIs, CAT scans, annual checkups, because tumors can develop along your optic nerves to lead you to go blind. Tumors can develop along your hearing to lead you to become deaf.
Hearing loss,
You can also have brain tumors. So in Penny's case, at age 14, we took her to the eye doctor because she had a little bit of a wandering eye. We thought it was COVID related, being on screen all the time.
Right.
And when we took her to the eye doctor, he said, you know what, let's just get an MRI to make sure everything's okay.
Yes.
And of course, we went to go get the MRI, and it was a tumor. and it was on her brain. It was benign. We raced into the emergency room. We got it removed, and then she went on. And again, going back to walking on sunshine, that's literally Penny's life mantra, because nothing stopped her.
Yes.
Not the 7 leg surgery she had to fuse the bone, not the brace she wore on her leg every day of her life, and not the 7 brain surgeries she had to keep removing that reoccurring tumor. And it was benign until it was not. And in the fall of 2022, that malignant tumor that we continued to remove after the radiation, after the chemo, everything Penny went through, the tumor spread. And we made a choice to bring Penny home. And we filled our house with love and light and joy and brought in all of her friends, all of our family, and created a love cocoon in our home that was so beautiful. And
it was like 1,100 people, right?
At her life celebration that came out.
Yes, look at that. How many souls she touched in 16 years.
I know. And I'm going to get to the signs. But you know what's so amazing is a friend just told me the story the other night that I had never heard of, because she said when news spread that we were bringing Penny home from Memorial Sloan Kettering, and we made the choice not to have hospice, and we were going to love her up with all of our light and all of our energy. Our community of beautiful friends who have supported us. This one friend went on Amazon and she bought electric candles because they imagined that they were going to be outside of our house, almost like a vigil, to show us the light and the love and the support that they were going to be there. And I have chills talking about this because she didn't know that we were bringing them inside. And so when they all got there, I was like, come in, come see Penny. You know, the dogs were on her bed. And I was like, come love her up.
Yes.
And so to this day, they had all these candles they didn't use because they came inside to our house.
Right.
And that's where the love and the light was.
Incredible.
And so the signs that last week of Penny's life, we created this love cocoon, you know, and Penny wore this little necklace that says her name, a butterfly for her life. And it was amazing because in that last week of Penny's life, the light outside of our house was so bright, and it was in November. So no one
that's
could
when
believe.
It's like dreary.
But it was so bright, and there was butterflies. Like outside of our window, people would comment like, isn't that random? We're seeing butterflies.
It's about to snow.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, it's sort of appropriate for Penny because she was such a bright light and she loved butterflies.
Yeah.
So when Penny passed and we had sent her out on a rocket ship of love, Chad and I grabbed our boys and our dogs, and we went and took them in our car to one of our favorite places to take a long walk because our house was filled with friends and family. So we wanted a little bit of a moment. And we went for a long walk with the dogs and the boys. And when we got back into the car and turned on the car, what was playing but Walking on Sunshine. So no coincidence.
Not at all. I mean, of all the radio stations, and FM,
I don't even think the radio had been on when we turned the car off, and there it was.
Yes.
So the signs started coming quickly.
My goodness.
And we opened our eyes to them, you know, and I immediately, you know, when that song came on, we all looked at each other and we sort of laughed through our tears. And we're like, there's no coincidence that's happening. Yes. And so when we got back to the house, I talk about this in the book because it's one of my most favorite moments that we had so many friends who were in the house. And one of our closest friends, Michelle, comes running up to me when we had just pulled back into the driveway. And she said, Kate, I have to show you something. I said, what? And she said, when you and Chad were upstairs with Penny in her last moments, 2 of our friends, Danny and Timmy, were outside of the house. And they were walking around the house and they were looking at how bright the house was. The house was almost illuminated.
Oh my gosh.
And they looked up at the window where Penny was, and the light was just streaming into the window, and they took a picture.
Okay.
And she showed me the picture, and it was the exact time stamp of when Penny passed. And I know, I was like, and I have the picture. And I said to her, I was like, Michelle, that was when Penny passed. Because I looked at the clock and I mentioned that to Chad. And not only that, but she said, yes, but do you see what's in the driveway? And I looked at the picture, and there in the driveway is the shadow of a cross that is pointing to Penny's window. And I said, oh my gosh, it's the cross. And she said, or an angel. And there is no denying it. You can show your viewers the picture.
Yes, please.
Because it was there.
My goodness.
And so I think in that moment, again, that reassurance and that comfort and feeling like she's with us.
Absolutely.
And she's showing up in that way.
Yes,
and
look at the
ever
proof.
Since, it's just been sign after sign. And like those moments of synchronicities and knowing she's putting people on my path. And I think you were referencing another one of my favorite stories.
Yeah. There's so many. There's so many. But then, I mean, you can look for them every day. And then when you're moving through grief, because the only way to get through is to through it.
Move.
Yes. You notice the awe and the signs.
Yeah.
And that actually lifts you through it.
It does. Oh my gosh, the comfort. I mean, I have so many stories. Not to like bore the audience. But two of my most favorite. One recently happened where it was during tax season, April, raining out. Everyone's depressed during tax season. It's just annoying. And I decided to get up from my desk and I went to the store and I was grocery shopping and I got to the counter and to my right was a little basket of purple tulips. Okay. Penny loved flowers. She loved tulips. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy those tulips because that's going to bring me joy.
Right.
And that's going to fill my cup. And so there I brought them to the counter and I was paying for them. All of a sudden I heard a clattering next to me. And a bowl had tipped over onto the floor, and there was pennies rolling across the floor out of this little penny jar. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, okay, hi, Pen.
Goodness.
And I recognized, so like, that's Penny telling you, keep reaching for the joy. Keep reaching for the light. And I'm here, and I recognize that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And what a difference that makes. And so that, to me, was so beautiful. And then my most favorite recent story is when Penny was going through all of it, you know, all of her surgeries, everything, and certainly in the last 2 years with the glioblastoma, I had a friend who sent me a little rock, and I still have it today. It's a heart-shaped rock, and it says faith on it. And this led me to keeping the rock on my desk, and then all of a sudden I started putting Post-its around the house, faith over fear, faith over fear. And that became my mantra, that no matter what happens to Penny and in our life, we're living our life's purpose. And we're on the path. Even though we may not know where we're going, have this faith over fear. And so that has been my mantra through everything. And a couple weekends ago, I was in Dallas for an event and I was running through this neighborhood. And just as a side note for listeners, my husband years ago, when the kids were really little, like Henry was probably 2, Penny was a baby, we bought a Wagoneer car, old Woody, a 1983 Woody, and everyone loves it. We still have it today.
Yes. Oh, sweet.
And it sits in our driveway. And so I was in Dallas running through this neighborhood, and I was thinking about Penny, thinking about the book, and I turned the corner, and there, sitting in a driveway in Dallas, never been to Dallas before, is this Wagoneer. It was our exact same car. And I looked at it, and then I looked at the license plate, and the license plate said faith, oh, fear. On a New York license plate.
On New York?
It was New York.
What?
Yes.
What?
And I had a moment. I was like, am I being punked right now? I was like, is anyone else seeing this?
Like, wow. You cannot make this stuff up.
No, but it was so beautiful because I was like, it just was such a moment of comfort and realization. Like, they're with us.
They're with you.
And they're wanting to show up and show the signs.
Yes. And you just have to keep your eyes out and look for them.
Yeah, and ask for them.
God, yes.
I ask for them all the time. I'm like, all right, I'm having a tough day. Show me something.
Do you write to, Penny and your parents, or do you talk to them? How do you connect?
I talk to them. I mean, for me, connection is about getting up and putting my 2 feet on the ground and getting outside and putting my face to the sunshine. And I think we talked about, like, when you're feeling anxious and you're feeling that grief, get outside.
Yeah.
Put your face in the sunshine. Go to a body of water.
Yeah.
That's almost the best because that anxiety that you feel is so big and taking over your body, you realize when you get to a body of water, it's actually much smaller than you think. Because that sense of calm and something that's bigger than you makes you feel, I think, comforted.
Yes.
So I connect in the outdoors. with them. And I go and for walks with my dogs, and I, do the things that they love to do. Aww. And I always feel closest to them on the water, outside.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I had this guest. She's a young girl, like in her 20s, Emma Loudon. She is an astrophysicist. Yeah. And she told me that in our little pinky fingernail, you can have 10,000 stars in that.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
I love that.
And I think of that like whenever I am having a hard time, I'm like, we are but a speck.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
There's a vastness in nature and the world and our solar system.
There is. And it is. Yeah. And it's so important. And that's part of moving through grief, moving through anxiety is, as I said, just literally instead of when people say to me, I can't imagine losing a child, I say every time, well, imagine if you did. Because imagine instead of staying in bed with the covers over your head and not wanting to get out, imagine your child. What would she want you to do? Yeah. She would want you to get up, put your 2 feet on the ground and 1 foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. Right. And so I always think about that, when I'm lying in bed and waking up, I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? This is what my mom would want me to do. Yes. What my dad would want. This is what Penny would want. Yeah. To move forward. Right. Right. Yes. And reach for the light. Reach for the sunshine. Exactly. Yes. That's exactly what she did. Yeah. I mean, you have to take a cue. Yeah. What was it like for Henry and Frankie? Because I'm thinking of the book I read so many years ago, My Sister's Keeper. Yeah, yeah. And you just think whenever you have a sibling who, has needs where the parents have to focus their attention on them, what happens with the other two? How have they and navigated this grief? That's so heavy for kids. Yes, to deal with losing a sister. They were part of my thought process. So again, going back to the imagine losing a child. Yeah. Imagine instead of staying in bed and losing your other children and your husband and your community and friends, what would they want you to do? Yeah. And so every step I thought, what would Henry and Frankie want us to do? How are we role modeling for them? How can we support them as we're moving through Penny's surgeries, Penny's all of this, and make sure that our lives together as a family unit were not defined by what Penny was going through. And that was really important. And Penny sort of led that path because anytime, she would get the diagnosis, she had another tumor that had come back. We would go see the surgeon, Dr. David Harder, who's a rock star. And we would look at the calendar and he'd be like, all right, I think I can get it out. And Penny would be like, great, because I have a river rafting trip that we're going on in 2 weeks. And he literally. Calendar's packed, chop. He would laugh because he'd be like, all right, so Pen, cute. What do you have coming up? And she'd be like, well, I have my 16th birthday and I have a big party, in 2 weeks. And he'd be like, okay, I think we can do it. We'll get it out and we'll get you back on your feet and celebrating with your friends. Wow. So I think for Henry and Frankie, it was that idea of whatever Penny was going through was not defining her and it was not defining our family. Yeah. So it wasn't denying it and we weren't pretending it wasn't happening. It was just like, okay, well, Penn needs to do this, but you've got your lacrosse game and you've got this, so let's go. Let's keep moving forward. Yeah, everybody's moving forward. Everyone's moving forward. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I actually have a question that I'm framing on behalf of my older son. So I have my boy-girl twins, they're 9. Yeah. And then my younger one, 7.5, younger son. The older one was just telling me recently, how do I believe in God? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can't see him, you can't feel it. Is it even real? It's because he's at that age where it's like, there's Santa, but is there? Yeah. There's Tooth Fairy, but is there? Yeah. Now God. And I want them to have this faith, this undeniable faith. So I'm tasked with how do I? Well, I think that's the faith that we talk about, and Henry and Frankie, I ask them often, how do you see Penny? How do you feel her? And I think for them, it's the signs also, and faith that she's still with us. And it was really hard, obviously, when they lost their sister and she was going through it because they didn't understand it. Like, why
me? It must have come.
Yeah. But I think what we have all come to realize now that we're on the other side of it is when I talk about living life's purpose, Penny lived more in her 16 years than many people do in 100. And so we talk about, going back to the butterfly, how it's not your lifespan that matters. It's your wingspan.
Yeah.
What you do with your big, beautiful eyes and how you impact others. That's what matters most.
Right.
And so I think the boys realized Penny lived this incredible life. And we made a choice when she passed, as you mentioned, to celebrate her. So we had a life celebration. And because we had over 1,200 people come out to honor and celebrate Penny, because they never knew what she was going through. And they couldn't believe that she was showing up in such a big positive way.
Yes.
But suffering and struggling through so much at the same time. So because we had so much love and support, the day after Penny's life celebration, Chad and I woke up and we looked at each other and said, we got to do something. We've got to harness all this love and support and Penny's beautiful life legacy that she's left behind to be able to help others.
Yes.
And so when I go to the turning pain into purpose, I know Penny lived her life's purpose and now we're living ours because we made a choice to launch a foundation.
Yes, Penny's Flight.
Penny's Flight in her honor. And it was really because we wanted to lean in heart first and do something. And when we had so many people who were like, what can we do? How can we help? You know, where can we send funds to support in Penny's name? We recognized, okay, it wasn't just her leg. It wasn't just her brain tumor. It wasn't the cafe au lait spots she had. It was under the umbrella of neurofibromatosis. So what are we going to do? And our ambitions were high, because why not? We were like, we're going to find a cure for NF. We're going to make sure no other family has to go through this, because there is no cure for neurofibromatosis.
Oh my goodness. And you mentioned it was 150,000
individuals.
Yes.
In comparison
to
ALS
30,000. Yes.
So we recognized very quickly early on, because we were the same. We had never heard of neurofibromatosis.
Yeah.
And so it's an awareness problem. And we were like, all right, well, we're going to do something about that. We're going to raise awareness and raise the critical funds and fund scientific research to find a cure.
I love it. We need an ice bucket challenge kind of thing.
We need the Penny's Polar Plunge challenge.
Ooh, I love this.
Right?
Oh my God, tell us about
Penny's Polar Plunge challenge.
Let's kick it off.
Well, we have started it. So for all of our listeners, I will tell you, Penny's Flight has been the most beautiful journey, because we really didn't know what we were doing. But we harnessed all the love and support from friends and family and leaned in heart first. And Henry, our oldest, picked the name Penny's Flight because he was like, it's not Penny's purpose, because she lives such a beautiful life and her life continues. Yes. So it's Penny's Flight. Oof. And then all of a sudden it was like, it's not your lifespan that matters. It's your wingspan.
And the butterfly effect.
And the butterfly effect and everything that has transpired since was all of these beautiful friends who just rose up and were like, we want to help. Nora O'Donnell is a dear friend who joined us and said she knew Penny since she was a baby and never knew even what she had been through. So she was like, I want to bring you on the show. Yes. I want to tell Penny's story. And we had decided to launch Penny's Flight. So a week after we launched Penny's Flight, Nora brought us on CBS. And then Bush Hager, is a dear friend, brought us on the Today Show. And before we knew it, wings were spreading so wide. And we had kids who were rising up and saying, you know what, we want to launch a chapter at our school. Mm-hmm. And we want to launch these fundraising events, Play for Penny hockey games, Pucks for Penny, Play for Penny lacrosse games, puppy yoga for Penny, pickleball for Penny.
Wow.
And so it just was so organically beautiful, spreading wings. And I think it resonated with kids so much because our pillars of the foundation are finding beauty in imperfection, positivity in the face of challenge, and having faith over fear. And that applies to anyone.
Yes.
So we were so inspired by these kids that today we have over 120 Penny's Flight chapters across colleges and high schools.
Oh my goodness.
And grade schools. And
I want my kids involved.
It's the best. And they, it feels like an inclusive club that anyone and everyone can be a part of in doing something that's bigger than themselves.
Yes.
And making an impact in such a beautiful way. It's been incredibly inspiring and such a beautiful way to keep Penny's legacy alive.
Yes.
But also do something with purpose and impact. And we've raised over $6 million.
Oh my goodness. That is incredible. And counting.
And counting. And counting.
We will include the links to donate and learn about the chapters and get your kids involved, especially if they're in college and want to lead one.
Yes. And it is, and the more the merrier, you know, and again, it's what I love is that it is so inclusive because Penny was always so inclusive.
Yes.
And, we talk about the simplest acts, such as the flap of a butterfly's wing can cause a revolution. And that's what we're doing.
Oh, right. Yes.
We are
And she started it. Yes, because I love the stories of how she had a girls' camp, her glam camp.
She did her glam camp. And you know what?
So she already brought community together when she was like in her home.
She was a little Pied Piper. Yeah. And all those girls loved her so much. And you know what was so beautiful about that camp was that she was running this glam camp, but she was getting radiation blasts hours before she would lead the camp. So she went through the summer of 2022 where she would go in for blasts of radiation to New York Memorial Sloan Kettering Proton Therapy Treatment Center on the Upper East Side. And because camp started at 11, she told her doctor, she was like, well, I got to have these blasts at 7 a.m. so I can be back in time to set up and be there to greet those little girls. And she did.
Wow.
And they never
And what
knew.
did she do at camp? Like how many kids? Like,
oh my gosh. There was, I think it was like 15 of them was the max, maybe 16. And she had 2 of her best friends. And every day was a new theme. So come dress as your favorite Barbie, come dress as your favorite Disney character. And they were, I think, 4 to 7-year-olds.
Oh.
And they would just follow Penny around because she was so filled with joy and love and light. And despite everything she was going through, she didn't want to be defined by that.
Yes.
She wanted to be there for those little girls.
Right. And then bring joy to their lives.
Bring joy.
And stay a kid.
Yes.
Like, why not embrace
exactly
always being a kid? We can always go back there.
Yes. And she didn't want to be defined by the chemo and the radiation and the surgeries. That's not where her heart was.
Yeah.
And that's not where her light was.
Yes.
So it's not she was in denial. She did it. She sort of compartmentalized it, but then she was living life every day.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. I want you to read a little bit of the foreword that Jenna Bush-Hager wrote.
Well, and Jenna's girls were in Penny's glam camp.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's
the connection.
They knew her so well and admired her.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
Oh.
My friend Kate Doerge knows something about grief, not the distant kind we speak about in hushed tones, but the kind that tears through a life with no warning, rearranging everything in its path. She lost both of her parents, her mother in a tragic and unexpected car crash that left her breathless with shock. And then, heartbreakingly, 4 years later, Kate faced the unimaginable. She lost her beloved, beautiful daughter, Penny, to neurofibromatosis, NF, a rare genetic disorder that no parent should ever have to learn the name of. It was the kind of loss that can hollow out even the strongest soul. Yes, Kate knows grief. She has sat with it at her kitchen table in Long Island, staring into the quiet morning light. She has walked past it each time she stepped by her daughter's room, the air still holding traces of Penny's laughter. Grief has followed her like a long shadow, yet she has never let it become her whole story. Because when you see Kate's face today, it is not dimmed by sorrow. It is lit with joy, with purpose, with a fierce kind of love that refuses to dim. She has taken the sharp pieces of her pain and used them to build something luminous. She has turned her heartbreak into a mission, her loss into a lantern for others still searching in the dark.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that so
beautiful?
She's an incredible beautiful writer and generous, beautiful friend.
Yes, I love that. She also helped orchestrate your special Oprah moment.
She did.
And this is one of many because you're going to be on the podcast and that's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. And actually, I
all
love
the
this
positive
story.
juju. Penny will give you her signs.
Story so much because Jenna was with me New Year's Day. And I'm a big believer in the signs and obviously lunar years. So this is the year of the fire horse.
Yeah.
2026, year 2025 was the year of the snake. Shed what
Shedding.
doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
And so New Year's Day, we woke up and Jenna was like, all right, what do you want for this big fire horse year ahead? And I was like, I want this book to help so many people because this is the book that I wanted and didn't exist when I had all this loss. And so therefore, I'm going to meet Oprah. And I'm going to be on her podcast because that's what it's going to take, along with your podcast, to reach all the people who need it.
Yeah.
And Jenna's immediate response was, you will meet her because I have her coming on the show on January 13th. And that's the day you're
1 and 3 is 4.
Amazing. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You sometimes have to look for them and they're mathematical.
And there it is.
Yeah. Okay. 13th. Yeah.
So the 13th. So she said you should on social media, reveal the cover and come and meet her. And so I did. And that was the most incredible moment because no coincidence, 3 years prior to that day, the week of January 13th, I had written an article for Oprah Daily.
Yeah.
And my dear friend Adam Glassman, who's at Oprah Daily, had come to Penny's life celebration. And when he was there, he couldn't believe how beautiful it was and how we chose to have everyone wear color and sing the songs that Penny loved and dance. And so when he went back with Penny's life celebration program, he had it in his office. And I think Gail King walked in and said, what is this? With all the butterflies. And he said, this is Penny Doerge's life celebration. And so they asked me to write an article. And 3 years to the day that article came out, I was standing in front of Oprah at the Today Show. And I had this just awe-inspiring moment because when people talk about Oprah and her aura, she is aura. Like she's the definition. Of aura.
Yeah, aura equals Oprah.
Yes, exactly. And so I had this moment where I was standing in front of her and I just was like, I'm so honored to be here in front of you and so grateful you published that story. And here I am, my life journey 3 years later, and I've just announced my book, Reimagining Grief. And it's everything I wanted and now have put into a book for others. And we had this moment, we locked eyes, and then she was whisked away. But I did have my moment.
Yes. No, and many more to come. I already see it. I see it.
I hope so, because you know what? Again, I just want this book to help so many people.
Yes, it's going to touch so many lives.
And I know the difference it makes. And you know what? It is when we're in grief and facing, as you know, challenges in life, you don't want to be told you're going to go through these stages and you just have to wait because you're going to go through them. And for me, it was all about taking action and having agency and having control during an otherwise uncontrollable time in our lives.
Yeah.
And that's why these 5 actions through grief is something we can control.
Yes.
In a positive way, in a bright way.
And feel empowered in it.
And feel empowered.
Not like, happening to me.
Yeah. Because it's like you don't have control when your mother's going through what she's going through or Penny's surgeries or the loss. It's like you can only control what you can control.
Yeah.
Which is your reactions to what's happening to you.
Right. Exactly. I wanted you to end with a mom sense moment, which is a time where you just trusted that intuition of yours. Yeah. And, you are so attuned to the signs. Yeah. So you'll find them. Yes. They will present themselves and you're like, click, gut check, know what's happening here. But a time where that happened for you that might just resonate with a lot of the moms listening who sometimes feel lost, down and out, exhausted, list goes on.
Oh my gosh, there's so many moments. But, I think about just trusting your gut. Like when we were in the hospital with Penny and they gave us that news that the tumor had spread, there's nothing they could do. And, you're sort of waiting for the doctors, a miracle, anything. You're looking for that lifeline. Yeah. And when you realize they're not going to throw it to you, what do you lean on? And for me, it was leaning heart first and looking at Penny and recognizing, all right, we need to love her up.
Yeah.
Because we may not have control over what's happening right now, but we do have control of how we're playing the cards we're dealt. And that was the moment we made the decision to bring her home and fill our house with the love and light and music and her dogs, and make sure that we could create the love cocoon that was going to send her out on a rocket ship of love. And that intuition, that gut feeling of like, again, what's best for Penny,
right?
And what do we know she would want is to feel that love. And so recognizing no one's throwing us the lifeline. So what are we going to do?
Yeah. I love
and then
that.
all the signs
we can apply
that came.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all can apply that to our lives somehow,
Yes. We all have a choice. How are you
Yeah.
going to play the cards you're dealt
That
in
you're
life?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that your dad said that.
I know, right?
It's so real, and it allows you to think of what could be around the bend and take ownership of it.
Take ownership. Yeah. And I say that to my boys now all the time when I'm like, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we play the cards we're dealt.
Yeah, exactly.
And what does that look like? And we have a choice. Again, I can't imagine losing a mother in a car crash. I can't imagine losing a child. I can't imagine all of that. Well, imagine if you did. Imagine you have a choice.
Yes. Yeah.
How are you going to play the cards?
How are you going to play the cards now?
Yeah.
And now tell our viewers where they can find you and get your amazing
Oh my
book.
gosh. Well, I can't hear she is. She's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
So the book is available June 16th pub date, and it's available Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, your local stores. Please support. I'm on Instagram, Kate Doerge at DoergeK. I have my website, www.katedoerge.com. Penny's Flight, please follow. It's a beautiful journey. If your kids want to get involved in chapters, DM. My husband's always like, you can't respond to everyone. I'm like, but I do. These are all my friends.
Yes, yeah. And they just want to feel touched by you in some kind of way.
And I want to connect.
Yeah.
That's why,
Yes,
with my
yes.
workshops I do and speaking engagements, I love that.
This is your diary from back in the day now.
Yes, this is my life's purpose. And I love all my new friends. So please reach out. And thank you for your support.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you for
oh my
having
goodness.
me.
This was so, so special.
I loved
I'm
it.
so glad that you shared your light with the world through this show. And I wish you all the success and love and happiness.
Well, we're doing this together.
Yes.
So thank you
Yes.
for your
High
support.
five.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is at Kanika Chadda Gupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.